My name is Paul Stainforth. I'm the editor of Tax Journal. Tax Journal is the leading tax publication for the business and corporate community. It makes sure that you never miss what matters in tax, and crucially it explains how a development in tax affects the advice you give clients. The title covers all forms of UK taxation affecting businesses and corporates, and that means VAT, employment taxes, corporation tax, and also international taxes where they affect UK businesses. Anyone who deals with UK business taxes would benefit from reading Tax Journal, and that means tax advisors, but it also means in-house tax experts in the large companies, and actually it also means tax collectors in the UK and also tax policy experts at the Treasury. The difference between Tax Journal and Taxation Magazine is that Tax Journal is aimed for the larger business and corporate tax community, whereas Taxation Magazine is aimed for the high street tax accountant advising sole practitioners or owner-managed businesses, so the smaller end of the business tax community. Taxation also has more of an emphasis on personal tax issues. Yes, we do have quite a lot of crossover actually, particularly in large firms that have advisors who deal with both the smaller business and the larger business. But typically the larger the firm, the more likely they are to take Tax Journal. Both of them read it, accountants and lawyers, but also anyone advising on tax. So that also means tax barristers, and it also means tax experts at Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. We sell a bulk subscription to them, so if you want to know what the tax collector is reading, that includes Tax Journal. And also in-house tax professionals in the large corporates. So the tax director of a large multinational will read Tax Journal. It means that you never miss what matters in tax. Every week in tax there are dozens of new developments, and it's quite difficult sometimes to see the wood from the trees. And also you're probably busy giving advice and not necessarily monitoring every single development. What Tax Journal does is we do that sifting for you. We look at the developments that matter. We not only report those, but we explain how that affects the advice that you give your clients. In other words, why they matter and what you need to do about them. I believe the title would save you time, because you don't have to monitor the dozens of information sources yourself. We do that work for you, and we pick out the items that matter rather than just covering everything. So we provide you with a filter, and we provide that in a weekly journal, which is very easy to browse, so you can get all of that information very quickly. And not only that, but when we do a report or an article on a new development, we also provide a speed read summary, which you can read we've timed it takes a minute to read, and you'll get the key points of a new development. So you won't necessarily even have to plough through the whole article, you'll just get this key executive summary. Yes, they do. I mean, tax advisors are concerned with giving planning advice to save their clients money, but you also need to make sure that you are not falling into any bear traps. So it can save you money in two ways. It can help you give better quality planning advice, which obviously is chargeable to clients, but also it can help make you avoid costly mistakes. For instance, giving advice that's out of date where it's been affected by a new development. So it works in both those ways: better quality advice going forward, and also making sure that the advice that you're giving is still current. Well, it means that you know that the advice that you're giving is accurate and up to date. and we believe that Tax Journal gives you good peace of mind because all of the content is written by leading tax professionals. In other words, your peers in practice. It's not written by me or anyone in this building. We specially commission it from leaders in the field to give the best quality advice possible. The competition, the great news is that there is no direct competitor at all. There are other tax magazines out there, but they all do something slightly different, and they're all aimed actually at different sectors of the market. The obvious one is Taxation Magazine, fine magazine, but it's aimed at the high street accountant who advises either personal tax clients or small businesses, whereas we are aimed at the larger business and corporate sector. Another magazine is Tax Advisor. This is a magazine published by the Chartered Institute of Tax for its members. So if you want to know what the CIOT is up to, that's the magazine for you, but it's not focused on tax technical developments. There's one other magazine that's worth mentioning, that's International Tax Review. Again, that's a good magazine as far as it goes, but it's focused purely on international tax issues, and it's not aimed specifically at UK tax advisors. So if you want to know the latest on Japanese tax, that's a good place to go, but if you want to know about UK tax, it is Tax Journal. Well, you're mainly getting peace of mind and quality control if you pay for Tax Journal, as opposed to relying on free information. And there's lots of free information out there, but the point of free information is to be a hook for you to buy consultancy services. So typically, if you go into Google and type in a case name, there will be advice on it, and it will say, this is a terribly important case, it affects you, come and see us and we'll tell you how to give better advice. What Tax Journal does is it gives you that better advice. That's our business. We're not trying to sell anything behind it. So as a result, we give you impartial advice. So we tell you when cases don't matter as well as when they do. That's what you'll get. You'll never get free information saying you can ignore this stuff. You only need to worry about these cases. Everything's important on the free information. So what you get from us is you get quality control. And we know that because not only do we commission experts' opinions, but we also get a range of views from different experts. And if we don't think it makes the grade, we don't publish it. HMRC publish some information giving their view on tax and what a development means, but that's not always the whole story. Not everyone agrees with HMRC, and while it's good to know their view, you also want to hear the view from the profession saying where HMRC have got something wrong. Inevitably, tax disputes are a part of life, and Tax Journal will arm you with better information to help you deal better with HMRC rather than just taking everything they say at face value. I think the three things I want to get across are that firstly, there is something in every edition that will help give you better advice. We publish information from a range of people, and in every edition we typically have about 25 contributions, all specially commissioned to help you. At least one of those 25 pieces that we publish is going to help you give better advice. The second point I want to get across is it's not just for tax geeks, it's for tax professionals, but not just those who are obsessed with the minutiae of the law. It's practical in focus. So we only cover something with a view of explaining why it matters in practice. We're not interested in an academic discussion of tax law. There are other publications that do that and they do it well, but that's not what we're about. The third point is that it's good value for money. Tax Journal costs an annual subscription of about £360, which may sound like a lot, but if you think of the value of your billings per year, that's a staggering amount. If you also think of the value or the potential cost of getting something wrong and the amount which you may need to claim on your professional indemnity insurance, never mind the reputational risk of getting something wrong, there's a huge risk there, and you can mitigate that by having a publication like Tax Journal. The downsides for getting it wrong are, well, firstly, tax penalties and interest that you may incur for your clients for making mistakes. But just as importantly, the reputational risk. If you start to get a reputation for giving perhaps slightly out of date advice on one or two areas, then that could undermine your business. Yes, there is.
Go on.
I think most importantly, a tax journal, by reading tax journal, it's a very quick way of learning from your peers. We make sure that everything we publish is written by a practitioner, which explains how a new development affects advice that you give. We're not an academic journal. We're not there to talk about the rights and wrongs of rules or to give you a historical context. We're there simply so that you can give better advice to your clients. I think that's the main point. I like to say that all of this content's been specially commissioned for you, and it's almost like having the best minds in tax come and visit you and explain every week what the developments mean to you. And we find that our readers stick with us. We have a high retention rate. So those that use Tax Journal like it. I've just talked really about the magazine, but I've not explained one of the key areas, which is if you pay for a subscription, yes, you get the weekly magazine, and that's a great way of browsing the information, keeping up to date. But an equal partner in that subscription is access to the website, taxjournal.com. And this really ties back to the value for money bit, because on taxjournal.com you've got more than 5,000 articles written by more than 1,000 experts in tax. We believe it's the best place for cutting edge research in business tax. If there's a topic that you want to research, it's the place to go for. The click of a button, the answer will be revealed to you. Not only do we have archive content, but we also have 10-minute webcasts on hot topics, which we film here. We also have news coverage throughout the week. We have growing libraries of case summaries and practice guides explaining how to handle areas of tax. And there are a few other different features as well, but basically you get the magazine to help you keep up to date, but you've also got this online resource to use 24/7. It is searchable and it's also browsable, and we've recently revamped it in line with comments from readers. The main objection they get is, I already get too much tax information. I don't have time to look at this. I'm drowning in information. Why would I pay for something extra on top? And the reason why you should pay for something extra on top is that even though this is another source of information, this is the one that helps you see the wood from the trees. A lot of the stuff that you're getting, with respect, may not be of the highest quality, especially if it's free. What this does is tell you why it matters and what you need to do about it. And you may not think that you have enough time to read it, but actually the way that we've put the magazine together with use of speed read summaries, clearly defined headings, mean that you can quickly browse the magazine very quickly. Most people read it on their way to work actually. And we also send out a couple of email alerts, so you can just scan that and find out if there's any information of value.